It is so wonderful to be here again. I spoke at 2020, and I think I was at 2019. We were trying to decide, and it's just such an amazing journey to be on this mass adoption panel. It's like, of course. So, show of hands, who here has an NFT? Who here had an NFT in 2019? If you heard about NFT, was it through a friend? Through the media? Through Twitter? So it's very interesting. So I'm Peg Samuel. I'm an innovation tech consultant, and I'm co-founder of Fear Studios. It's an NFT project. At the end, I'll be giving away a POAP. And I would love for the panelists to introduce themselves.
Sure, I can start. My name is Brady Gentile. I'm Director of Product Marketing at Hedera Hashgraph. We're a layer 1 public distributed ledger. We do tokenization and smart contracts, and we have a lot of NFT applications that are being built on our network today, and excited to share what's going on with us with you guys today.
My name is Raymond St. Martin. I'm the CEO of SIO. We have our own digital token called an SIO that creates, tracks, defines, and differentiates through the social identities and context of objects. For example, what is Hank Aaron's bat without Hank Aaron? And the story is that of overcoming. What is my grandfather's watch without my grandfather's legacy? And we're bringing that technology to the NFT space, cross-chain.
Hi, I'm Keith Bussey from Master Brews, co-founder, and we're basically a technology services provider. We work with artists around the world. We work with a lot of projects. Kind of our claim to fame was being the first company doing evolution in NFTs, all on chain. So we're known for Whelps. We're doing Mark McKenna's Heroes and Villains, and we're working in the background with a lot of mainstream companies, which seem to fit the topic. So,
hey everyone, I'm Halsey Huth, the head of growth and partnerships at Moonpay, standing in for our CEO Ivan today. So what does Moonpay do? We power the payments for the majority of the world's wallets, exchanges, and NFT marketplaces. We make it extremely easy for their users to purchase crypto or purchase NFTs directly with their debit cards and credit cards in 160 countries. So we get to work with a number of the groups that have coming through here, and you've seen some of those amazing projects. We just try to make it that much easier for the mainstream people to actually be able to go and interact with these NFTs and purchase them in a way that they actually want to.
Hey everyone, my name is Erik LaPaglia. I am an angel investor in the space. I consult to a number of projects and platforms, and in the brevity of the moment, seeing that clock is ticking down in front of us, I'll probably leave it at that.
I'll ask more questions. And again, I'm Peg Samuel, and I'm also with Fear Studios, where fashion meets technology. I'm going to ask the panel, I'm going to answer for myself too. How did you first get into NFTs, or even for me? So I read about it in the New York Times in 2018, and I went to a digital art talk, and then I met the founders of CryptoPunks and some other digital art, and I was like, this is really interesting. I went home, and it took me all weekend to figure out how to do the MetaMask and buy the CryptoPunks. How did each of you kind of get into the space?
Yeah, so I joined Hedera back in 2018, and prior to that I worked at a company as a software developer who ended up becoming an artist. His name was Tyler Hobbs, and we worked at a company called DataStax together, and he ended up doing a lot of digital art using algorithms to generate paintings, and recently decided to get into the NFT space. It was a year ago, and started following that and saw that sort of blow up and become a big thing. It was really exciting. And then working at Hedera, obviously, we do tokenization, and so finding exciting projects that are interested to build marketplaces and NFTs.
In 2014, I saw that every object in time and space could be connected through the creation of unique verifiable IDs. And so I architected a system and patented it, and continued to research what kind of digital asset would be able to handle that someday. And my friend Ian Utility, who introduced us, invited me here in 2019. And I met this community, and I just fell in love with it. I felt like I found my tribe. and we found the technology that would allow us to protect provenance and authenticity,
Yeah.
and then transfer that across every vertical possible. And so the NFT art that I first purchased was this T-shirt, really. I mean, from Josie
cool.
here in
Amazing.
2019. She was just out there selling her posters for like $250, and there were like 200 of us here, and it was just a very small, intimate gathering of what became friends.
Awesome.
I feel like I'm a late comer compared to everyone else here. We only got in with Master Brews about March, and we just, we saw what was going on. I guess I found it probably through some rabbit hole, some late night, and we just decided, hey, we can do this. We can do stuff people are not doing. Everyone at the time was doing kind of copies of each other. There wasn't much innovation, and as someone who's been a CTO for 22 years, I like to pride myself on innovating, and we were like, hey, why don't we try this, or why don't we do this? And that's kind of where our company vision went and how we formed it. And my first NFT was a Yeti, unfortunately, followed by a Misfit, so not a great track record in buying, but we're pretty good at what we do.
So my foray into NFTs, I think I owe a lot to the early Dapper team with CryptoKitties and Cheese Wizards. But I think the first time that this really made sense to me, gonna date myself here. I used to play way too much World of Warcraft growing up. There's an episode that South Park did on Warcraft called Make Love Not Warcraft. And that was the first example of a actual in-game item as an NFT that no one even knew that it was actually an NFT at that point in time. But short answer, they basically saved the day of the episode by being able to give a magic legendary sword to these fourth grade kids. But the only way they could do it, because you can't actually trade in-game items, is actually go put it on a USB drive, drive it across the country, and give it to the kids. So give it up to South Park for being like a decade early here. But one of the things that just made the most sense, and I think we're now at a perfect time to actually see things like that play out across all these gaming ecosystems. So Dapper and Warcraft.
And South Park.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
Nice.
I love when an inflection point in mass adoption is South Park. That's outstanding. For me, it was probably a couple of years ago in a conversation that I had with my friend Dan in LA, and he's just always a visionary. And at that point, I got super curious in the space, and I'll be honest, the art projects that I was finding were not incredibly intriguing to me. But what was super fascinating is the smart contracting functionality and the idea that we can take democratization and proof of ownership to any corner of the globe. That was the game-changing paradigm for me. And so I'm passionate about where we can go with this, because for me, proof of ownership is the difference between third world and developed countries. And the idea that through blockchain we can do this and be able to flatten the curve as far as what is ownership and how we demonstrate that in the physical and digital world, that is going to disrupt the way we do business going forward in every way possible.
Thank you. So did you want to go through this Moonpay presentation that we have here?
No. I think that's for after we finish.
That's for the after. Okay, perfect. Because I was going to say, my next question is going to be, and we don't have to go down the line, we can start to get more in a conversation, is since this is the mass adoption panel, right? So I think Moonpay is perfect. It's how, like I said, that first time that I bought the CryptoPunks and the kitties, it was awesome because I taught myself so much about the blockchain and the MetaMask and how these things work. But I know that I made a mistake and sent money right to CryptoKitties before I bought it and those things. So part of, I'm going to jump ahead. One of my final things is UI is so important for mass adoption, and Moonpay, I thought about it. I was how we're paying for stuff, bringing on mass adoption. So that's my next question to the panel. And I know one of you are in with the bigger names like Hasbro and things like that, and then the payment. And so just kind of Quaker style, jump in and let's talk how we're getting people outside of this room into this space.
Yeah. So I think you hit the nail on the head there. You were proud of yourself that you were able to go through and make your first purchase, but it was definitely not the easiest process there. And so we very much saw this, kind of the writing on the wall was if we wanted these digital JPEGs to really become a ubiquitous thing around the world and get people involved, it needed to be a lot easier than setting up a MetaMask wallet, going to Coinbase, doing a transfer, and then basically guessing, did I do this correctly? And for the majority of people that are hearing about this, they think the opportunity is cool, but they don't necessarily care about cryptocurrency. When they go to make a purchase, they're a lot more comfortable seeing those things priced in dollars, and they would like to pay with those things instead of transferring ETH or Solana or Hedera, what have you. They want to use Apple Pay. They want to use their debit cards or credit cards. That's the checkout experience that they're used to. And it's really exciting for us because it's taken a while for the ecosystem to actually have enough of the moving parts moving together to actually have that user experience and that flow that people are comfortable with.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, and you look at a platform like Veeve, I think that's where they've gotten a lot of traction is the fact that it's an Apple Store easy purchase. And so whenever we are able to make the on-ramp to accessibility much, much user-friendly, that's where we're going to see traction. And I look at what Dapper did with NBA Top Shot. For the first 6 or 8 months, they never uttered the word NFT. It was just a digital trading card. And once there was a lot of noise in the space, all of a sudden, oh yeah, it is an NFT. And so for me, mass adoption will look like in 18 to 24 months. I don't know what it'll be, but there will be a platform where there's going to be 100 million active daily users on it, and they're buying goods and services, and 99% of the people on there will have no earthly clue what they're transacting in is an NFT or a cryptocurrency driven product. It's just going to be another on-ramp to buy things and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's
yeah, I was going to confirm. So we're in talks with some major companies, and they don't want to hear the word NFT. They love the technology. They love what it can do. They all associate a negative connotation. And if that doesn't change, then you're going to lose that mainstream adoption because you need them to bring in wallets. So for example, a Ticketmaster, they're going to be able to force people to use a wallet to store their ticket and use NFT technology, smart contracts, get rid of fraud, let people trade tickets, but they don't want to call it NFTs. They don't want to hear that word. So to your point, yeah, it doesn't matter what you call it at the end of the day as long as the tech works. And I feel like that's where you're going to get mainstream adoption. So even people who are creating blockchain games, they have to forget about the blockchain part. They have to get it to where they're creating a game and blockchain is just a default layer in their tech stack.
Yeah, that's really important. I think when we were first talking about this panel, we were talking about NFTs as the brand or the utility. And I think that there are a lot of people out there that are working on amazing utility outside of art, like the ocean and pollution and things. When we talks we've been seeing here, and I've been when we talks around supply chain and global communication using the same technology, right? So I think that people that are out here that are learning about NFTs or that have ideas, I firmly believe that if you can create derivatives of 4 different values, so if you can create a derivative of informational value with this technology, or you can create a derivative of legacy value, social value, or even monetary value. Focus on your silo, do what you, find your people here, find your tribe, and bury yourselves for a year, and then come out winning with one of those derivative 4 values. Then underneath that layer, we will have that platform. We'll have that platform because we're all working in our silos, but together, right? Because if we all try to do it all kumbaya together in one circle right now, we're gonna fail. And Meta's gonna win, and we're gonna go, that sucks. We really had a chance here to pull this off. So that's what I wanna say is if we can focus on those 4 values, get into our silos, and speak the same language at the base layer, then we will change the world.
Yeah, to add to that, standards are incredibly important in the space. At the end of the day, I see NFTs and crypto and a lot of these technologies as it's infrastructure. And I come from a database background, and you use all these various databases for things like Instagram, for example, all of the likes that show up on Instagram. No one really cares what database is used on the back end of Instagram. They just want to know that when they click like, it propagates across the application and other people know they liked it and that their transaction went through. And so for NFTs, it's if we can, developers are going to want to obfuscate that from the end user and make it as easy as possible. And we're already seeing UI, UX improvements in the space. And I think it's only going to advance further from here.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, what you described, I look at all these projects as little countries, and they're creating their borders and their ecosystems and their languages. What we need is we need the airlines that connect them all, that you can say, hey, I want to go from here to here. I want to be able to take my things and goods with me and go there and have a seamless, effortless way to integrate. And once somebody develops that technology, the interoperability, that's where I think we're going to look at mass adoption and go, oh, that was then and this is now. Now I have mobility and the ability to transport these things across, you know, my game or to my e-commerce store or to my Instagram platform. That's when we're really going to look at mass adoption, where it's no longer all of Hedera or ETH or what have you. There's just a seamless transaction layer in there that they don't see, they don't touch, they don't feel. It's just, oh, it's one click easy.
I love that.
Metaverse.
I love that. I was thinking too, I feel like I'm dating myself, like that I try to put things back to history, right? So I started the Weather Channel before there was a .com, and then I worked at weather.com and said early in, like, if it's the Wild West, I'm there. And I was thinking about my early, like, crypto days talks, like 2018, that one of the examples, and you very much said it with, like, Instagram, it's like, for me, if we've traded numbers and I WhatsApp you and you read, and I see the 2 checks, I know you read it. I don't need to know how it got there. Like, I don't need to know all the tack and everything beyond it. I just know it works. And I know we'll get to that point. But since here, like, a lot of us are working within the system, so, like, learning more and working more. But what you also said, Erik, it reminded me, like, okay, well, .com, like, there's all these websites and, like, and by the way, I feel like we're at the AOL stage of this NFT. Because, like, now the CDs are going out, right? Like, the billboards, 2017 was like we were in the garage. Now the CDs are hitting the, you know, because we're at 5,000 and sold out. We're doing billboards. We've got, like, you know, yes or no, like, it's celebrity endorsements, all that. But back to what you said, Erik, you reminded me of, like, well, then we had search engines that came in and connected the dots for us. And then, but yours is like, fast forward to 2021 and then beyond and what it could be. I wanted to ask you, while I have you, Brady, like, beyond, we talk so much about digital art, and I love that and had been talking about that forever because people can understand, like, okay, that is an NFT. Beyond art, I know you're deep in, like, carbon footprint and, like, other things. Can you just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, certainly. So yeah, we're starting to see applications that are being built that use NFTs for things beyond art and people being able to have ownership of items. Obviously, that's very important, and we see a lot of applications doing that. But for example, something like carbon credits, where there's issues in the space of sort of double issuance of a carbon credit, and not a lot of ways to be able to track all of these in aggregate. Which, you know, to your point, the company being able to connect all of these dots and networks and validate the authenticity. We have applications that are issuing those credits. They're making it, easily traceable. There's applications in supply chain where you can attach an NFT to various products or components of a product, and that goes through the supply chain, hits different provenance that's tracked, and then ends up in the hands of a consumer at the end of the day, and they can sort of see the progress that made. They can verify that it was sustainably sourced, or, you know, where it came from. And so there's a lot of uses, I think.
Yeah, totally. One other thing I want to hit while I have you guys is, Keith, with brands, just touch upon, like, the opportunities there and what they're even thinking.
Yeah, so we talk to companies like EA, Hasbro. They're very slow conversations, as you can imagine. But yeah, they basically want to find out what can NFTs do, or what can the smart technology do that would be able to provide value, and stickiness is, like, the key word they want. So they look at the NFT space right now in its infancy, and they have zero interest, right? Like, you could propose them a really cool project, let's say with Transformers. You can do all kinds of cool mechanics. They have zero interest. What they want to know is, what can we do that'll just keep our users forever engaged, and then cross-sell between our own products. So something like your, South Park Warcraft item, that's exactly what an EA wants to do. They want, if you have a sword in one game, all right, if you're in another game logged in the same, well, now you have a different weapon, but it's connected somehow. And those are the things that people need to start focusing a little more on if you want the mainstream adoption. You have to look at not just the avatar projects and not just the digital art part. You have to look at the utility more. And I feel like there's not a lot of companies that are doing that yet. So, there's a huge opportunity, and whoever starts getting those brands locked in and doing that type of stuff, then you're going to see stuff roll really quickly, I think.
Well, I think you're seeing too where a lot of these larger brands are willing to do these little pilot projects and use it as a sandbox to play around in and really feel what they can do and how they can engage with their customers. And I'm thinking about like Estee Lauder, what they did with Clinique a week ago, or even Nike, what they did about a month, 2 months ago, and how those are starting to become more and more, forward thinking. And then you get ones like the McRib that just came out. Like, I think that's good for the space. I think that, companies like Immutable Holdings going public, it's good for the space because I don't care where mass adoption comes from, if it's from financial markets, if it's from everyday frontline users, or if it's somewhere in the middle with brands. All of those conversations need to take place because I can't see the future. I can't tell you which one is going to be that point where the dominoes start to fall and then it's no longer like this, magic internet money. It's just how we do, commerce.
I love that term, magic internet money. It cracks me up. It's funny as we watch, like I just am so cognizant of the time ticking down, so we have like 2 more minutes here. More stuff you want to talk about, mass adoption, stuff with utility is super interesting. Any thoughts? Go for it.
Different use cases?
Pardon?
Like different use cases?
Yeah.
Sure. So 2 groups we've had the pleasure of working with just over the past few months. Dolce & Gabbana.
Amazing.
I'm sure if everyone saw like the digital fashion drops that they were doing, but was very, very notable because of one-of-one beautiful editions, and people actually started to take fashion in the metaverse seriously. And we saw a number of people come out to actually go pay very high sums for those pieces because very important to them. Just yesterday, we actually started a collaboration with the World Wildlife Foundation. And so they did a drop of, I think it was like 20 different endangered species where they took like very notable NFT artists and, they have been doing donations and protecting wildlife since they started. But now they have a very unique way of like engaging with their community and continuing to do that fundraising, but now it's in a completely different wrapper. And people are a lot more engaged and excited, and they were very happy seeing a ton of donations roll through on that platform.
It's so amazing. I do want to say too, so this mass adoption household name, I was like, NFTs have been on SNL. Like, that's it, for me, at least as a New Yorker, like, that's household name. And then, to your point, they took that clip, made it into an NFT, and then gave the money to the Asian hate charity. So it was just such a good, storytelling moment.